everybody, welcome back to episode 113 on this Thursday night. I have a sweatshirt that says I Heart Weekends. It's coming.
It's not the weekend yet.
It's not the weekend yet, but I'm wishing it was.
Last week I could have said that because I was off last Friday.
You were, which was very nice.
Yeah, yes, except that
yeah, except
we couldn't really take advantage of it.
Yeah, can't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere. You were working. Whatever.
Yeah, we've got boxes surrounding us at the moment.
It's kind of ridiculous.
But we did get rid of 2 pieces of furniture last night, which was like super exciting. We had these old couch and love seat that we knew we weren't going to take with us, and always dicey if you put it out, even with stickers on. Are they going to pick it up? And they did. It was like very exciting.
Yeah, you know you're living a really glamorous life when that's what's exciting.
Yeah, like woo! They took our furniture.
Old furniture. But the cats were really confused that we took confused. 2 couches out. And they didn't know what to make of it. Yeah,
so now this way where I'm pointing is where we used to like watch TV and stuff like that. Now we're in our living room, which is that way. And
the world's smallest living room.
It is small, and
which is why we didn't watch TV back there.
And we haven't. I haven't turned on that TV. Well, neither one of us have turned on that TV for a very long time.
It was basically the video game console for the last. Although a couple of years ago, we put the Christmas tree in front, and Mark put on Christmas music while we were. That was good.
And luckily, our IT tech Mark still lives with us.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have watched TV yesterday.
So I was like, texting, hey, can you come down? And not only did he do that, but then he also set up like all the passwords for like Netflix, Discovery Plus, like Hulu, all the stuff. Which
now our accounts are going to get hacked because you're saying what all the various streaming things we have. And then you get those extortion emails after you get your account hacked. That happened with a bunch of Facebook accounts where, you'd get the email that said, we know what you've been looking at online and send us X amount of... And there was some old lady on the local news who had gotten one of these extortion emails, and it was pretty...
She knew what was up.
She knew that it was ridiculous, and also knew that she wasn't surfing the web for things that would open a person up to extortion. So it was pretty wild to see that story. And so then I was curious about it, so I Googled it, and it was happening all over the country, and it was happening to college kids, and universities were like emailing their entire student body saying, if you get this email, it's a scam, don't. And it all related to a Facebook hack.
So crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm paranoid if we, people know you have this thing or that thing or whatever. That goes back to my old theory, and I've even mentioned this before about with security questions, although this wasn't related to security questions, this was passwords that got hacked. On Facebook passwords, and it happened a long time ago, and I remember when it happened because I got notification that I had to change my password, and I did anyway. But my theory about security questions is that I don't understand why people tell the truth when they answer the questions, right? Because security IT people will always say, well, don't ever post anything online about your family, your personal life, where you grew up, this, that, or the other thing, because those are always the subject of security questions. And so if you talk about the town you grew up in, or the street you lived on when you were a kid, or your first pet, or your mom's, then people will go through your Facebook or your whatever social media accounts and try to find it. And I'm like, isn't the much easier solution just to make it up? I mean, you have to, in other words, so you get a security question that says, what street did you grow up on? It's not like you have to tell the truth. It doesn't matter as long as it's a street you're going to remember.
What was your first pet?
You could say Sesame Street.
Elephant.
Right. You could either do things that are completely outrageous and you're not likely to forget them.
Right.
You had a great white shark as your first pet. Something like that. Or you could, if you're worried about forgetting the lies, I mean, the reason why the theory is you use things that you're familiar with so you remember them. But that doesn't even work because then you're like, well, when it asked me for my hometown, did I put the state? Did I say, Chicago, Illinois, or did I just say Chicago? Did I abbreviate it? Did I do this, that, other? So you still have trouble remembering sometimes. But my thing is, like, you could take something that you don't really ever talk about, like a movie that's maybe a movie you don't really care for.
Right.
Right? And then just use all the answers. So in other words, you're not going to be talking about that movie on social media, right? So a hacker isn't going to guess that you used
Mrs. Doubtfire.
I was going to say the terrible Ode to Billy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
An entire movie based on a song. I hated that movie, and I saw it in the theater. But anyway,
I never saw that movie.
It was based on was it Dusty Springfield? No, it wasn't Dusty Springfield. Now I'm going to have to find out who recorded the song originally.
Billy Joel. Not Billy Joel.
Not Billy Joel, Billy Joe.
Billy Joe.
Anyway, but talk amongst yourselves.
Is it I wonder what year that came out.
The movie came out in 1976, but the song, it starred Robbie Benson. No one remembers Robbie Benson. And you know who directed it?
Who?
Max Baer Jr. Remember who Max Baer Jr. was?
Beverly Hillbillies?
Beverly Hillbillies. He was Jethro on Beverly Hillbillies.
I can't believe I remember that.
And was the son or the grandson, I think the son of one of the greatest Jewish boxers of all time, Max Baer.
I didn't know that his grandpa.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was a terrible movie, but it was based on a song, and the song is very popular. And so you could take a movie, why did I got off on that tangent?
I don't know.
But you could take a movie or a book or something that you're not really particularly fond of, a TV show, and take all the answers from that. So you remember them, and they're consistent, but nobody else would guess it.
I think that's a great idea.
But they never
recommend that.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good idea.
So that's my thing.
I'm not going to use elephant. That was just a for example.
Yeah, or great white shark.
Yeah.
Now I have to figure out who wrote the song. I can't talk today.
It's weird that they'd make a whole movie from a song, but.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby Gentry, of course. That's who did the song. And I can't remember when it actually came out. The original actually came out. All right, sorry.
I'll have to check that.
Sorry for that distraction, but that's always been my theory. Like, and you wouldn't use a book or a movie or something. If you were going to base your security questions on something like that, you wouldn't do something that you like. I wouldn't use, Bruce Springsteen songs or something, because, somebody might guess that.
Yeah, and I actually, a few years ago, changed all of mine because I kept on using similar variations for stuff, and then it was just kind of getting like, if anybody was going to try that, they could guess like other things from that. So I was just like, let's just not do that anymore. So far so good. Knock on wood.
That totally threw us off though, because that's not at all what we were going to talk about.
What else we're going to say? Oh, so this Saturday, we mentioned before, we're picking up our daughter from college. And thank you, Lori, for suggesting our friend Lori lives in Champaign. And her two sons went there. They're grown up and out on their own. But she said since we'd mentioned that Claire had no refrigerator or microwave, she could bring Claire oatmeal. So thank you. Hopefully she's surviving.
Well, right. And she's done with schoolwork now. So basically, she should be packing so we can pick her up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which leads to another thing is that, with everything that's going on, there's a possibility that we will not be able to stick to our regular schedule. Because we've got that on Saturday. The next week is more or less normal. And then 2 weeks from now, we're going to actually be moving.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I know why I thought the song was Dusty Springfield. Completely different voice and everything like that. But the first line, one of the more recognizable opening lines of the song, it was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day.
Okay.
So now anyone who's familiar with that song is not going to be able to get it out of their heads.
I don't know that song.
So you'd probably recognize it.
I probably would.
I would play it, except that then it'll probably be a YouTube commercial.
We'll probably get hacked. They'll take down our video.
Yeah, that's right.
Copyright.
That's right.
I found out recently, in the last 6 months, that if you have a YouTube account, let's say for example, and you're monetized where you can make money, if you use any song that's obviously copyrighted, you won't get monetized for that.
Yep.
And so one person in particular that I followed did like a whole series of workout videos that were kind of successful
to Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah. Dressed as Olivia Newton-John.
Dressed as Olivia Newton-John.
Wait, was she a aerobics person, or is that just like, oh, let's get
No, but
physical?
she did the song,
yes.
Let's Get Physical.
I was like thinking, I'm like, was she
yes.
like Jane Fonda? Did she have like
she
workout
might
videos?
have.
Maybe she did. Anyhow, but she didn't know that. And then all of these things that she had created with music that she didn't have rights to, they didn't get a dime. So just keep that a note to yourself.
When you're posting a video, I think the interface has changed over time, but when you do it now, it says that there's like, they do actually do a background review to make sure there's not anything. That's like, we did, at Christmas, we did a video with just a little clip of a Maverick song in the background. And it was fine. It posted and nothing came of it. But we did get a notification that we couldn't monetize it. And, that's fine. I mean, listen, I'm not going to steal from artists. I don't think you should steal from artists. I think they should get paid for what they put out. But, I mean, it's a band that we have always promoted and will continue to promote. But I just thought it's funny because on balance, we probably promote them more than we would ever, whatever harm we could cause, which is none, we probably do more good than harm. But what's really funny is that on this very platform, on Instagram, we went to a local record store a few years ago on Record Store Day.
Yes, we did.
It's a legendary record store owner named Val, who had a place called Val's Halla. And I'd been buying records there since the 70s. My family probably even before that. So we went, and one of the albums we bought a lot of vinyl because they have other things, but they mostly have vinyl. Records. So I bought a Ramones record, and I took a 20-second video, just a little clip of the album on the turntable, playing Rockaway Beach, and it was like nothing, and the point was just to say, we went, bought records at Val's on Record Store Day, and for months, they would pull the video. Well, they didn't pull the video; they wouldn't allow the sound to play, and I would get a notification, and you could respond to it, and I would respond to it saying, "Listen, I don't think it's a copyright violation. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not profiting from it, and I'm." I'm just, I'm giving them credit. I'm attributing it to the band.
Yeah, you're not saying, like, listen to my new song I just created.
So then they would reverse course, and then the sound would be on there. And then a week later, I'd get another notice. And it must have happened 3 or 4 times.
Probably because their staff kind of, like, rolled over, and it's like
I don't know how they do. Like, is there actually someone who's listening?
I have no idea.
Or is it like an AI thing?
It must be AI because the billions of hours of stuff on YouTube, it'd be impossible to find.
And the irony of that is, if you played a song on your own, like on a guitar or on a piano, or you sang it or whatever, they probably would never pick that up because the tempo would be different. You might be slightly off key. Your guitar might be slightly out of tune. Whatever it is,
right.
If they're relying on artificial intelligence, or some sort of computer program to determine whether or not you're violating copyright, they're not going to pick it up if you're actually playing it unless you play it almost perfectly.
Yeah.
So that it matches the record. So I think that's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny.
But I don't pirate anybody. I wouldn't pirate anybody.
I was going to mention, because I don't think we've mentioned it on here before, but all of our videos here are on a YouTube channel that we have.
That's true, and it's in our bio, the link to our YouTube channel. So
for 2 reasons. One is like, what happens if one of the platforms goes down? You never know, kind of thing. Tomorrow somebody could say like, oh, Instagram's gone, and you're like, all your stuff is gone.
Like those hackers that shut down that pipeline on the East Coast.
Yeah. I think that's resolved now.
I hope it's resolved now.
But we have all our stuff on there, which is kind of funny because we have everything on there, and only one person leaves comments on
true.
that
Generally
platform.
speaking,
It's
true.
David's best friend that he's been friends with for years and years.
That's true.
And so we have to like check that just to see like what comment is made in there. So it's hard to like advertise a YouTube channel. I have one for my food blog, but I was just looking at it the other day and I haven't posted in 7 months, which I think is like one of the things that you're supposed to post frequently. But it's just one of those things. It's just like another thing to do on top of everything else in your life, and it's just kind of hard to keep up with that kind of thing. So, but we do think it's funny that we've got another platform with all this on there that nobody knows about.
I was just we're talking about the sampling thing, and there was a big lawsuit, and I'm trying to remember whether it was in Chicago. No, this one was in L.A. This one involved Jay-Z. They were
Beyonce's
sued.
husband?
Yes, Mr. Beyonce. They were sued over sampling an Egyptian song, if I remember correctly. Although that's funny because I thought sure that suit was in Chicago. But this says that it went to trial in Los Angeles in federal court. Anyway, so they got sued over sampling it. And it is true that when, for the most part, when artists sample other artists, they do actually pay royalty. It may be a very small royalty, but that's something that's been fought over for years. But in any event, there was a big lawsuit because they took a little clip of an Egyptian song, and the Egyptian artist found out. And what was really interesting about that case is that there were all these complicated issues because it was an Egyptian artist and the original song was recorded in Egypt, like what law applies. And they had to, at least as to some parts of the claim, they actually had to apply Egyptian law in a federal court in the United States. It was really cool. No one else would care about it, but as a lawyer, it's like really, really fascinating.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not Walk Like an Egyptian.
No, the song was Big Pimpin', which was actually a big hit for them. But apparently there's a little clip of this Egyptian song.
Knew that.
And it was, I don't know whether it was like an Egyptian pop song, but it was an older song. So it wasn't anything that was particularly current. But anyway, it's
just to
really
think like how
lawsuit.
Somebody noticed that and could tie it back to there, and like that's a lot.
But a song like that was like an international hit. So the original artist, the Egyptian artist, was still alive. And I don't, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure it was the artist who sued him or the record company that put out the original song.
Gotcha.
Because that's the thing too, is that a lot of times artists don't own the copyright. I mean, that's one of the things that the Beatles did, and one of the things that the Rolling Stones did, was they created their own record companies. So they owned every part of the music. I mean, not initially. I mean, the Rolling Stones were on like London Records, and the Beatles, I think, were on Capitol Records, whatever. But when they got popular enough, they started their own record label. So the Beatles were on Apple, and the Rolling Stones were on their own Rolling Stone Records. And if I remember correctly, who the first non-Rolling Stones artist was on Rolling Stone Records?
Hang on one second. I know you've told me this before.
And now I'll probably be wrong too, but
it isn't.
We've seen them in concert.
Oh, Johnny Cash?
No. Wrong direction. You're going in the wrong direction altogether. Living Colour.
Oh, Living Colour.
Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know that.
I believe that is correct.
I was going to say Tiffany.
Tiffany, by the way, is going to be at City Winery.
Shut up. She is? My gosh.
In Chicago. Yeah.
My sister and I went to see that concert in Maryville, Indiana. It was Styx. That is hilarious.
I got to scroll down here because it's not.
It was Tiffany opening for Styx.
June 20th, a 5 p.m. and an 8 p.m. show.
That is hilarious.
And the other person I saw, I'm not quite ready to go back to concerts, but the other one I saw was someone we're familiar with, Ronnie Baker Brooks. Fantastic
who
blues
sang
guitar
Happy Birthday to Me on my birthday.
Did sing Happy Birthday at Fitzgerald. Speaking of, now this is just rambling, we're going all over the place, but speaking of Fitzgerald's, which is a local nightclub that's had music for years, it recently changed ownership because the original owners retired basically and sold it. but it's still, to the extent you can still have live music. They're struggling, but there's new ownership. But so there's a guy by the name of, and I may not be pronouncing his name correctly, Jeff Kazee, Kazee.
Okay.
He is a horn player. He's sort of like the musical director of Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes, his band. He plays with them. He's played with Steve Van Zandt. He's played with Bruce Springsteen. He's from New Jersey. So he posted, I follow him on one of your many social media platforms, and he posted a picture that came from some Asbury Park, New Jersey, website where they promote local artists and everything. And it was a picture of him playing accordion. And he made some kind of a comment about it, and so we kind of went back and forth. I made a wisecrack about Southside Johnny, and then he said something to the effect of that, well, you're an editor, you're not a... It was all in jest. Yeah. It wasn't mean-spirited or whatever. So I said, listen, there's no... I won't slander the accordion because we're actually, I tweeted, or whatever it was, I can't remember what platform it was, pictures of C.J. Chenier and Terrence Simeon at Fitzgerald's, both playing accordions. Right. I said, it's these two artists we've seen, in recent years. And he asked me, he says, so what club was it? He didn't know that I was from Chicago. He said, where was it and what club? I said, Fitzgerald's from right outside Chicago. And he immediately responded, of course. He knew Fitzgerald.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was really cool. And he's not, he's from New Jersey. And,
I love connections like that on social media.
But he's
you can talk, have a conversation with somebody.
Of course,
yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah,
now you're best friends.
Well, no, but it was neat that he would say that. I won't be able to find it. I was going to try to get a screenshot of the whole back and forth, but it's it didn't work that well, and now I won't be able to find it at all. Anyway, but I thought that was so funny that he's like, of course.
That is funny.
Oh, I scrolled way past it now.
All right, Tiffany's back and she's performing again.
Tiffany's back.
New to me. I did not know that. Although pretty much anybody who played in the 80s and 90s, if they can come back, I think that would like to.
I showed the pictures of...
Oh, that's perfect.
Terrence Simeon and C.J. Chenier. He said, that's great. What club and where? I said, Fitzgerald's right outside of Chicago. And he responded, of course!
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point.
I put an exclamation point here. That's really fun. I love when that happens.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of going through, the days are flying by. So that's kind of...
Like sands through the hourglass.
Like sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. Is that still on? I don't even know if days are...
You're asking me.
I know. I used to watch it back in the day, but have not watched it.
I think everyone did in the 80s.
You had to.
College kids watched it in the 80s.
That's when I started watching it because some of my friends watched Days of Our Lives, or just Days. And I actually missed a class or was late to a class because obviously we weren't recording yet. You couldn't record it. And I wanted to see the outcome. And it's on every day. I could have asked somebody else, so that was kind of crazy.
I have a hunch that college kids don't watch soap operas anymore. Maybe I'm wrong.
I doubt it. There's so much more for them
they
to
also
watch.
They also run watching Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Like the old people.
Yeah. I love Wheel of Fortune though. That's...
The thing I don't understand about Wheel of Fortune is why are the contestants, they're not always, sometimes they're older people, but more often than not they're young people. And I'm like, why are you guys, you're not retired.
Yeah.
You don't live in Florida.
Maybe it's just like a thing that they watched growing up with their family and they just figured that they would try it as a...
It just seems like that's, sitting on the couch, my life is over now. I'm going to sit and watch...
They do show on the commercial, though, that people will tweet.
All the commercials.
Yeah, will tweet, on social media, I gotta get home because Wheel of Fortune's on. And it's like, I don't think I'd advertise it that much.
But all of the other commercials are for geriatric people.
So
they're all about prescription medication.
Our retirement home.
Retirement homes. The cell phones with the giant...
The jitterbug.
font.
Which mine is mostly like that because I have the font really big. because of my eyesight.
I have no idea what we're even talking about anymore.
I know. We're not sure what the title of this is going to be, but Thursday thoughts, Thursday rambling, something like that. So anyway, we're not sure.
But not ramble on because I hate Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what we're going to post on Saturday. It might just be a picture or a little small video or something like that as we pick up our daughter from school. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. We can't wait to see her.
It's just going to be a 3-hour video of cornfields going by.
Yeah, is pretty much it. But anyway, have a good rest of the night, and we will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.